I don't know like what you believe, but probably a lot more women than you think would be down to, under the right conditions with the right person and the right vibe, actually like do a threesome. I mean, you can be the guy that provides that. You can be the guy that takes the lead, provides that safe space, no judgments. That can be the guy that is empathetic and understands kind of like what each of the girls' needs are. Yeah, maybe one is more introverted, whatever. You can give her like a little bit more time, a little bit more space, whatever. These are small details. Now, talking about the story, like the Mark mentioned with the 4 girls, that was actually the first time I ever had more than one girl at the same time.
Okay, interesting.
So I never went to a threesome. It was just like one girl, like boom, like 4 4 girls at once. So you can do stuff really fast as well if you like really believe in it.
Willkommen zu einem neuen Video. Heute habe ich einen sehr besonderen Gast hier, der auf den schönen Namen Christos hört. Yes, is that right? Okay. Wir werden das Video gleich auf Englisch anfangen, also das Interview, so würde ich es zumindest nennen. Christos ist Grieche ursprünglich. Und um das vielleicht ganz kurz zu erwähnen, wir haben uns, glaube ich, das erste Mal vor 7 Jahren kennengelernt, wir haben auf jeden Fall eine lustige Geschichte und jetzt haben wir uns zufällig hier wieder getroffen und dann dachte ich mir, muss ich ihn auf jeden Fall holen. Er ist auf jeden Fall richtig krasser Experte, was Dreier angeht. Da kennt er sich sehr gut aus, da werde ich ihm auch ein paar Fragen dazu stellen. Ich glaube, er hatte auch einmal einen 5er mit 4 Frauen. Vielleicht wird er von der Story auch was erzählen. Ansonsten wünsche ich dir viel Spaß. And now we're gonna switch to English, obviously. Hey man, it has been like a long time. I just told them I cannot remember exactly how long it was ago that we met, but I think was it 7 years maybe?
7 at least, maybe more.
Yeah, 7 at least, maybe more. So it was a long time ago, and I very briefly said that we have a funny past, and then actually, yeah, maybe he's gonna tell it. I don't know, but anyways, but then we met just randomly on the streets a couple of days ago, and since he has a lot of experience, I thought it might be very valuable for him to share some of his stories, memories, experience that he gathered during his so-called pickup journey, if you want to say so. So maybe the first question I can ask you, obviously you can say hi and so on and so forth, but maybe you can first tell how you got into game and how you got basically into this whole like getting to know girls, approaching girls, like because I don't think we ever really talked about our backstories.
No,
right,
never,
so
never.
I actually don't. So this, so I don't really know a lot about his backstory. I only know he has a lot of experience. So maybe he'll share a little bit of that.
Yeah, the reason why we don't really actually know that many details about each other's past and lives is because when we met 7 years ago, it was not under the best conditions. It was in a big event that we were both guests, and there was lots of, let's say, competitiveness and
Lots of testosterone.
lots of egos clashing, lots of drama, and it was not like really good conditions. It's just like we met and then we clashed and went very separate ways. And then I was here in Krakow randomly like a few weeks ago with a friend, and I just saw Mark on the street, like the corner of my eye, just as we were walking through the center. And I was like, damn, what a coincidence. I haven't seen this guy in like so long, like 7 years at least. And I looked at him from far away, and I said, like, I walked up to him, and the first thing I said is like, I don't know if I still hate you or not, but I'm gonna say hi to you. And we started talking, and
so just to mention the story very briefly. Last time we've seen each other like 7 years ago, I think I throw some glass of water into his face, which I never did before. But yeah, anyways. But I'm quite glad that right now it's pretty chill.
yeah, like this is the nice things. The nice thing that sometimes, as Mark said when I met him, time heals and time can make things better. So yeah, like after 7 years and a quite dramatic past, here we are doing the interview together. about my past, I have a pickup past. I started in game. I think we started around a similar period, maybe. Like same. I started. What was it? What year was it? Like 16, maybe 15, 16.
I started a bit earlier. I think I started 2012-ish.
Yeah.
13,
Okay.
14.
You started a bit earlier than me. Yeah. My past, how I got into game, I'm just gonna try to keep it as short as possible. I was basically quite good with women always as a teenager, like since I was like 14, 15. But I was never like getting exactly what I wanted. It felt like I was always doing great, but it wasn't always exactly with the women I wanted, or I felt like I could always do a little better or get a little bit closer to something. It was a little bit of an abstract thing, but I always felt there was space for improvement. And I was this crazy guy in high school, like among all my groups of friends that just wanted to go out to malls and the city center and walk around and talk to girls and hook up, and I was doing that stuff. And my friends were like, none of my friends could keep up with the same thing, or didn't have the same passion for this, or didn't have the same skill, or just like were not into that so much.
Was that already in Sweden? Or?
No. I went in Sweden right after high school, like when I was 18. I was like still in Greece.
When you were 18, you went to Sweden?
Yeah.
Got it.
Like I lived in Greece until 18, and I was like going to malls, like city center, was like approaching girls. I didn't know that game even existed. I didn't know if it was like a thing.
So he's like a real natural then.
I was going to the mall and I was like literally like getting eye contact with some girl, go up to her, approach her, like take her to some like corner in the mall, make out, arrange to meet her again.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I was doing that shit as a teenager. But I was not having sex. It was like not in my mind. I was like, oh, I'm keeping sex for the special one.
So you were still a virgin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had a couple of opportunities, but in my mind I was like, okay, I'm just keeping it for the special one. And then I was a real player in high school.
Yeah.
I was like changing girls like this. And then and I was really like thinking I'm keeping myself for like my true love. And what happened is I was kind of like waiting for her to show up, and I was like going through girls and going through girls and going through girls, and she was like not showing up. And I could see like other guys like around my age, like in high school, start doing like crazier things and having sex and banging girls and doing things like that. And then I had like the feeling of like being left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was like 17, I was like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. I'm not gonna hold it for the special one. If it comes, it comes. And then immediately after, I met a girl, fell in love. She was Swedish, on vacation in Greece, and that's how I got my first, like lost my virginity, got my first serious relationship, moved to Sweden, got out of Greece. And
did you move because of her to Sweden? Or?
it was a bit of a mixed reason.
Oh.
Let's say it was 50% because of love and 50% because I wanted to get out of Greece. I didn't like the environment. I didn't like the options I had there. Family situation was not great either, so it was like a mix of already wanted to get out of Greece and the love and having that opportunity to get out of Greece. So it was 50-50. It was a great relationship. I had no complaints from that one. And
so you were kind of like so have you been teasing the girls? Because I guess maybe the girls wanted to have sex then, or was it? Did you enjoy to tease the girls because you didn't have sex with them?
I wasn't even like thinking about like.
You didn't thought about sex.
I wasn't thinking about sex. It was like I was letting things come like slow at the way that I felt like doing them. So I don't know, like first time touching tits. Oh, this is nice. First time like doing something else. Like first time touching pussy. First time doing. It was just like. Slowly coming into steps and just like enjoying things as they were coming, and sex was not really in mind. I had like a couple of opportunities with a couple of girls, but I didn't chase it because I didn't think these girls were special. I was like,
okay.
I could, but nah, fuck it. And then moved to Sweden with a girl, had a very nice relationship for 2.5 years, and eventually we had my nicest breakup out of all the relationships that I had. It was like mutual. We both kind of realized we were very young. We spent a lot of time together. We wanted more things, and we're like, oh yeah, maybe it's time to just split and move on. And Dude, I remember like that first week after that breakup.
Was it tough or good?
No, it was fucking insane. It felt, first of all, it felt like, oh my God, I'm finally free after so long.
Yeah.
I'm in Sweden, where the girls are much hotter than in Greece.
Why? How come hotter? Like, why?
They're way hotter.
They're way hotter.
Yeah, they're way hotter. Like on average.
Just because of their hair color or just everything?
Also, when you grow up like in one country where there's like one type of look and haircut, you know, in Greece, 90% of the people are brunette, and everybody likes the blondes, and
sure.
so for us, like the blondes are definitely the hotter ones. Yeah, and I'm like single again after a super long time in Sweden.
Was it in Gothenburg or?
It was in Gothenburg, yeah.
Gothenburg. Yeah.
It was in Gothenburg, yeah. And it did feel like I was like a virgin all over again. So it was like, oh, okay, like now if I'm gonna go have sex with someone, it feels like, how the fuck do I do this shit? And it was the first weekend, go out with my best friend, like right after the breakup, and we were like having a competition who's gonna make out with the most girls.
Yeah.
I was like, well, like 20 years old. I beat him like 9-6. And then in the end of the night, as we were like getting our jackets, I go take my jacket, and then like on my sides come two Swedish girls, like two friends. And like maybe they were into the idea of a threesome, but at that time I didn't even think about that. And I just ended up like taking one home. I didn't even think about the fucking threesome. I was like, and I was super nervous because I was like, shit, it's like basically like I'm a virgin again. And I couldn't get, and I couldn't get my dick up.
You what?
I couldn't get my dick up. That was like the second girl I ever fucked in my life.
You mean you couldn't get any up?
I got it like barely up enough to like have sex, and it was like the second woman I ever had sex with in my life. And I was just so nervous because it was just like, okay, how do we do this? And I was like super embarrassed. The next day I was like super embarrassed, and then I had like this, it stayed with me, and like for the next month I was like super nervous every time I was gonna have sex with a girl if I was gonna be able to get it up or not. Eventually me and a wingman, like my best friend, we met that same girl another time, pulled her together, had the threesome, and then I had like my, how do you say, like the, what do you call it, like the rematch? Yeah. And then I could actually like fuck her properly, so it was quite crazy.
I think that's for many guys, that's like when they get one time not get one up, then they have always like the fear.
You want to talk about it?
Then they always have the fear, oh my god, next time it's gonna be the same, right? And then it's, you know, it's like maybe some cycles some people have. And
dude, I was like a little nerd in these years. Like the first year after the breakup, I was like so nervous. We had like the drug dealer guy in university, like in the class. It was the drug dealer guy of the classroom. And I went and took Cialis from him, so I could get my So it was that was my way to deal with nervousness back in the day. How I got into game, that same summer after the breakup, went to vacation in Greece, in Rhodos, where all the tourists are Scandinavian. So I went with my friends from Sweden. It's like literally like a mini society of Scandinavians going wild in Rhodos, like a little bar street, a neighborhood. Like drunk 18, 20, 22 years olds, like doing insane things. We're talking about like people fucking in the toilets and like girls getting naked in the middle of the dance floor. People like, I mean, I don't know how it is now. Like it's been like 10 years since then. But it was like a crazy ass place. And then I was like walking on the streets, like doing my own natural game, whatever. And there was this guy from Sweden who was working in the club. He was a promoter that was bringing the people in. And those guys, they fuck a lot. And they game a lot, like in their own way. And he saw that I was doing well. And then he told me like, oh, which city do you live in Sweden? And like, we're both in Gothenburg. And we gamed together, I didn't know game back then. And we gamed together in Rhodos, and he told me, you know what, when we go back to Sweden after the summer, I'm just gonna add you to this Facebook group, and you will see. It's like, he made it sound like it's this Secret society, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the beginning.
Yeah.
We got back to Gothenburg. He added me to the group. The group was the back then RSD Inner Circle Facebook groups that every city had the group like this, and that's how I got in the game.
Nice. So basically, there was not like, I know that for some guys there was like this one single traumatic experience that was not something you had, obviously, right? Yeah.
Like, what do you mean traumatic experience?
Like many guys get into game because, I don't know, they had like a really tough breakup.
Or like somebody cheated on them, or
Or
like
say for example, this is very, very interesting. A friend of mine, he's a German guy, but he studied in France, and he was okay with the girls, right? But then he was not like a big player. But he met this one girl at the party, and he basically told her for 2 hours how good he is, right? And he's, he thinks very highly of himself and is like a disciplined guy. And then he basically thinks, oh, I own this girl. And then he goes out with her, and some random dude walks up to the girl and doing like some stupid, like shitty humor, right? Like funny stuff, right? And then the girl just likes him and leaves with him. And he's like, what the fuck, right? So you cannot really necessarily call this like a traumatic experience, obviously, right? But it moved him a lot, like this much, that he really wanted to solve this problem, quote unquote. Like, this is what I mean. But this is not something that I saw in you, I guess.
There is something, because you mentioned it. I don't really often think about that, but there is something. When I was like 15 and I was really trying out relationships, there was a girl that I was really in love with. It was the first time I was like properly in love with someone, like visualizing a future together and all this kind of stuff. And she really broke my trust. I found eventually that
she cheated.
In a sense, it was a crazy story. At first, I was with her best friend. I didn't even know her. Then her best friend was like a complete piece of shit. Personality-wise, like really toxic kind of girl. Broke up with her best friend. Then I started talking with her. And it wasn't even like sexual in the beginning. I didn't even know what she looked like back then. We were just like talking and vibing. And I was like, you know what? I really started liking her personality. And then we met in real life. I was like, damn, I actually fucking like that girl. She also looks fucking amazing. And there was like something there. And then eventually I found out that she thought I was playing both her and her best friend. When it was not the reality. I was like, I liked her best friend. Then we broke up because...
Maybe you did it a little bit, but you didn't realize that you did it.
I was not thinking like that. I was like, okay, that girl is gone. Her friend is actually a much nicer person. We vibe like way more in like personality is more similar. Everything is more similar. I was actually, okay, that's a much better opportunity. And then I found out that she was kind of like playing with me, like with her best friend, like on the side. And she kind of had like some parallel relationship with some dude. Or something along those lines. It's like it's in the whole cheating kind of theme. And I think this was the point where I maybe like stopped necessarily believing in love that much, or like in this kind of relationship. And then I started like, okay, I don't give a shit anymore. It's just like, let's just like take girl after girl, just have the fun, have the validation, have like whatever, not take it seriously, not give anybody like any serious expectation or any serious opportunity. So there was a trauma, like a trust issue thing.
I mean, it's always like hard to know exactly what is trauma and what is not. And obviously, a trauma with 15 is different than a trauma with 30, I guess so. But yeah.
The older they are, because that's the work I do now. Like I left the whole game dating pickup industry quite a while ago, like a few years. And I'm doing a lot of trauma work. The older they are, the more serious they are. When you have a trauma, So like the clients that I work with now, like most of the base traumas, like the core root traumas that we find are usually between the ages of 0 and 5, 6 years old.
Okay.
Like,
that makes sense.
Like a trauma that like follows you like your whole life, to like makes your
that makes sense.
whole personality basically.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Good. So okay. So back. Okay. So you started with kind of 18. Oh, yeah, but a bit earlier, and then you went to Sweden. And then you were 20, and you had the breakup, and then you basically, I guess, sorry.
Then I found game.
One more time.
Found game.
Yeah. Then you found game, and then you basically started to study pussy. You might say, right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about that? I guess at that time, online dating was probably not as prevalent, right, as it maybe was, especially during Corona, for example.
Corona was much later.
Yeah, Corona was much later.
At that time, like Tinder,
and then you met the promoter. This is, by the way, something I recommend to lots of people, like the guys that work in the club. You know, they usually have very good game. Yeah. Like I met one time one guy in Berlin, and I think he told me like some crazy, but I believe him. He said he fucked like 200 girls in 6 months in Ibiza. It's crazy.
No,
it's crazy. But those are. He was not a promoter, but a barkeeper. But such kind of stories you hear.
You said like 200 girls in Ibiza in 6 months.
Yeah.
In Rhodos, because I remember the stories from this place. All the promoters from like the clubs, they had like a leaderboard, and they were competing who's gonna fuck the most. And some of those guys, they would do like 130, 140 girls in one season, which was like 4 months, something like that.
Yeah, that's good.
So the Ibiza promoter story, it sounds like completely plausible.
Yeah.
Completely fucking plausible.
I believe it. Yeah. So if you want to learn game, you know, go to.
I saw a guy like that was working in my club. And I had like my shift, I couldn't move, but he was free. And he like in one.
You also worked in a club, or?
I went the next summer in Rhodos, tried the promoter thing.
I
got sick. It was like super intense. I had to leave, and I was like on that club, and I had my shift. I couldn't move, and I saw the guy go like in one single night, like 4 or 5 times in front of me. Yeah. He came to take the key because we were living in the same apartment. I had the key. He came like took the key, brought me back the key. Took the key, brought me back the key. Like, and I saw him like with 5 girls. Yeah. I mean, not every girl was hot. Okay. I think like 1 or 2 of those girls were like literal like
fed. Okay.
Yeah, but also 2 of the girls like that night, I remember they were extremely hot as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, like what the fuck is going on? So those stories are definitely plausible.
Yeah. So again, so you were 20, you had the breakup, you met the guy. And then what was it like then from going, I guess then you maybe want to say you smelled blood, I can imagine, right? And then you probably just got really into it.
When I found out about the game existed, it was like a light bulb moment, because I was always that guy that was like going after girls, and I never felt like there was anybody else in my environment who does that thing. So I was always like a little bit of an outsider, and my friends could do it, but like not at the same extent or intensity or just like passion. And when I found out, okay, this fucking exists, I was like, damn, that's my tribe. Yeah. That's my world.
My people.
That's my people. And I was like, that's where I belong. And I was already studying in the university in Sweden. I had already started, and then I find out about game.
What did you study?
Software engineering and management.
Software engineering.
Yeah.
And what? And monitoring?
And management.
And management.
So you learn a little bit of all aspects of development, and then you're the guy that manages the different specialists, whatever. It's interesting, but it was not like my thing. Yeah. And I found out about pickup, and I'm like, okay, this is like something I love. This is like my tribe of people. This is something I'm good at. This is something I can see myself in a future in. And then I have like university, like this whole, it's alright. It's not bad, but it's not something I fucking love. I could do it, but I would probably be an employee somewhere with some like, okay, whatever salary, maybe okay, maybe good, maybe mediocre, whatever, or I just follow my fucking dream. This is like my thing. I just like, fuck everything else, like do this, burn the boats like of this traditional type of life, and pursue a career in game, pickup, become like a pickup game, dating, whatever coach. And that's what I chose.
So, like 1, 2, 3 from Rammstein, like 1, 2, 3. No, I guess it's in some songs you must count a little bit in German.
There is links.
Feuer, Oh ja, links 2, 3, 4, ja.
Okay, so and then what was it like to go out to go on from there? So as we said, you were in Sweden, you were a student, you studied, you met the community, I guess you can call it, and then you probably just went out a lot, right?
Yeah, this was the only thing I was doing after some point. We were going out. I mean, I was young, had the...
Just to say this one real quickly, it's very funny to see him talk about game. Like you can have a normal conversation with him, but if you talk with him about women, you instantly see the eyes light up, and you just see that you're kind of passionate in talking about it. So it's interesting to see.
I know what you mean. Like I still think about it from time to time. I still think that even if the general career direction has changed, like the dating coach is like always at heart. So that might never change. I don't know about that. We'll see. What was it that you said? I was like, what I was doing in Sweden, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, we were going out a lot with my friends and my best wings. Like it's like 3-5 nights out per week.
You had during that time, do you had one wingman that you went out all the time with, basically, or do you had multiple of wingmans, or maybe 2 or 3 wingmans?
The first year when I met the promoter guy, we became instantly like best friends, or like best. Yeah, we were. I really considered him a friend, and we were also like really good wingmen. You might even have heard of him. Anyway, I won't mention names. But the first year we were like going, it was like the first year that I found out pickup, and we were both in Gothenburg, and we're going completely crazy. We were doing completely insane stuff. He was like my main wingman like 90% of the times. I also met other people from the community, like got a lot of friends. I was super passionate about it. So I was just like, started a little Facebook group, started a little free blog post, whatever, posted articles with my ideas, posted articles with like things that I observed, like dynamics, patterns, lay reports back then. My lay reports were completely like insane, like the stuff we were doing. The content I was putting, like the lay reports, were the thing that made me famous extremely fast, because I was super passionate about it, and I was also like very aware. I could put in text very well the entire experience, like from the very beginning of like the night, where I'm just like, okay, am I like maybe a little lost, a little, whatever, like not at my best, and then slowly like I would describe the experience, getting into things like all my thinking patterns, what I would observe, what I would see, what would click, what things I would see in women, like observing their thinking patterns, their behaviors. It was just like a very, very immersive experience. Those lay reports were very, I would just say complete compared to like what other people were putting up at the time, because we're like what most people did, they were just like trying to brag or like make it very short, or they would see like only one aspect of game, and I was just like super extensive with everything.
Yeah, I think some people sometimes forgot it's not necessarily called a lay report, but it's the actual name is like a field report, so some people always thought it needs to be like a success report. No, doesn't need to be a success report.
Back then I saw it that way too. Back then I was like, oh, it has to be like a... I'm just using...
If you didn't have sex, there's nothing to write about.
Yeah, I'm just using the lingo from back in the day. I obviously don't use this like now anymore. I don't write this anymore. But I'm just like doing the whole trip from the perspective of almost 10 years back. And yeah, with a guy, we're doing in like the stuff we were doing compared to like what the average community guy was doing at that time was just like out of this fucking world. Man, the stories I have are completely insane. Like a pool where I had to play like basically against like 12, 13 guys for one girl, and I had to like gradually eliminate them 2 or 3 each time, or like one by one, like to the very end, like until I finally managed to stay alone with a girl. Sometimes I had to like fool a receptionist at a hotel to give me the correct number of the room of the girl. It's like fucking... It's stuff that I mean, that receptionist could get in trouble, for example, if like somebody knew about that. Yeah. But I was doing like very risky stuff. Like one time I jumped in a car with two guys I didn't know, and they turned out to be like mafiosos basically, and like drove like somewhere in the middle of nowhere because I had one girl of the 3-girl group and they were into the other 2 girls of the group, and they pulled them because 2 of the girls wanted to go with them, and I'm like, I'm not gonna leave my girls, just like fucking jump in the car with them. And I'm like and you're in the car and the guy tells you, like, oh, you know, yeah, I've been in jail. I was like, what have you been in jail for? Like bank robbery. Yeah, I was in... That was in Sweden? That was in Sweden, yeah. Was in Sweden. Okay. Dude, there are some...
He was not Swedish.
Both of them. The other guy...
Both of them were Swedish or not Swedish?
They were not Swedish.
Okay.
One of the guys was Russian, and the other guy, I don't remember, like Middle East. I don't remember. But I did like a lot of crazy stuff. I found myself in a lot of, you know, what you would call like risky situations with like shady people. But for me, it was just like adventure and fun, like pushing the limits. And yeah, with that guy, we basically stayed like together as a wingman for like 1 year. Then I realized he was just kind of like taking advantage of me, and I had seen like this coming, and it was just like, yeah, like becoming more and more obvious. And then in the end, I was like, you know what, like fuck the shit, I'm like out of this thing. That was in Gothenburg. I had the fuck buddy that it ended up like becoming a relationship. She moved to Stockholm to study. I moved with her because it was like an opportunity. I had like quit university in Gothenburg, no more place to stay in Gothenburg. I was just like staying with another fuck buddy for a few months until I figured out like the situation. And I just like moved with a new girlfriend in Stockholm. That's when I started Social Prime, the company like that we were doing that stuff with. And yeah, then Stockholm, new wingman, even crazier situations. First year of coaching. First year of trying to figure out my approach. Because when people got into the community, they usually would follow coaches, right? And in the beginning, first year, I also followed coaches, like the most popular back then, 2, 3 most popular. But I wanted to like I didn't want to be like a generic coach that just like copies others and just like regurgitates the same stuff. I wanted to find my own model, my own theory, I just wanted it to be like the best fucking thing possible. And this is when I realized this is the same thing like all these years. This thing has still stayed the same. That year in Stockholm, with my own experiences, with my own like studying, reading books, talking with people, just drawing inspiration from everything around, I came up with the original Social Prime model. And this has still stayed the same after like 8 or 9 years. And it was the thing that your perception of reality in your head shapes your reality. Obviously, yeah. And then I was like, okay, how do we get like the best possible perception of reality that supports where we want to go, what we want to do? And I realized the biggest part was about how you perceive yourself, your self-worth. If I feel like I'm deserving of a situation, if I feel like I'm deserving of a specific woman, if I feel I'm deserving of a specific amount of money, like a job, if I feel like I'm deserving of people's attention, if I'm trying to reach a lot of people. Yeah. It's in general, if you feel like you're deserving of the things that you want to achieve and reach and have in life. And you might have seen similar theories back like out there, like things like Psycho-Cybernetics, the book, the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, Ego's the Enemy. They all have like a similar Power of Now. They all have a similar message, like behind the words. If you look behind the words, like the core is this thing. And it was like this thing that clicked for me. And I was like, okay, you have like, you are born, you're basically having an amazing perception of the world as a kid. You don't give a shit about anything. You feel like the world is yours. You feel like you can do anything you want. You feel like you're a fucking superhero as a kid. Yeah. And then somewhere along the way, like this gets lost. So I was like, why does this get fucked up? Why as a kid I can go up to everybody, say whatever quote unquote like fucked up shit I want. Like I can go insult somebody, I can go to like another kid, I can go to a little girl, do like some stuff that an adult would be like, you know, what the fuck is he doing, right? And then I realized that you lose this on the way because of conditioning, parents, society, all the perceptions from the people around you that are getting imposed on you. So the approach from that moment was like, all right, how do we get back to this? How do we get back to the perception we had as a kid? How do we get back to the space of everything is amazing, life is a game, life is fun, I'm deserving of everything, nothing is... like my desires are nothing to judge myself for. It's just I want something. I'll just fucking go for it. Yeah. And yeah, basically the work I've been doing is just finding all these types of conditioning. Some people call them trauma. Some people call them something else. Find out what kind of this you have, and just like clear them, and then get more and more back to this clean states of being that we had as children.
Yeah, that's a true thing, I would say, I guess, because I feel like especially many of the good guys, maybe if you want to call it like them, right? They don't feel like they necessarily deserved the girl, right? They feel like they first need to do X, Y, Z till they deserve the girl. Obviously, they feel like they don't even deserve the attention. Obviously, you know, that's why they don't walk up to them and say hi, even though obviously the girl looks quite hot to them. And that's really depressing. That's sometimes annoying. I think it might be a bit different if you're like some fat, lazy, homeless person, you know, then maybe you don't want to feel entitled to talk to the very young, hot girl. But
have you seen this interview with this homeless guy in New York?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, there's like a homeless guy in New York. I guess. Well, the video is like a couple of years old, right? But
no, it's very old. It's like
it's very
maybe
old.
7 years old, that video.
Who are like basically he doesn't he's but he grooms himself, right?
He looks normal.
Yeah, he looks like
normal.
He doesn't look homeless, but he doesn't has a home.
He will walk into some store, like grab a little bit of gel, like fix his hair somewhere, you know. He looks normal.
Get some perfume.
Some perfume, yeah, like from the side.
and then he just takes a girl, and if he bangs her very well, I guess he said he can stay at her place for 3-4 nights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She needs to. He needs to find another girl. Yeah, that's all.
He gets a shower, gets a few nice hot meals.
And actually, I think that. But just to mention this one, I think many guys, they think they first need to have the nice car to get the girl, right? Or they maybe first think they need to have the good body to get the girl. Where obviously this is wrong, you know, because then you only get the girls who like your nice body or who like your car most of the time. But it probably helps you to reach something and to build up a little bit of discipline, I can imagine. But obviously this is the wrong direction, you know, the car, whatever the muscles you have. This is not, I usually call it, it's not what you really want to hook girls on.
Yeah.
Right? What you want to hook them on should be your personality, because there's always somebody who has more money or like a bigger dick or, you know, just a better car, or, you know, who is more ripped or more pretty than you. That's not something that really makes you unique. But actually, because you mentioned some stories, I wanted to bounce back a little bit and then come back to this, and then maybe you can share one other thing, because you mentioned lay reports. But like I need to share one funny story that we have. So, you know, I guess I talked a little bit earlier that you're quite experienced in threesomes. And me, myself, to be honest, I was never, like, I had many threesomes. But just a couple of years ago, I was not really into threesomes, you know. It was never like, I don't watch like threesome porn for some reason. I know for some guys there's like a fetish, like they're really into the threesome stuff, right? Yeah, threesomes are pretty amazing. But I, for some reason, was never really something that I pursued, just next to women, obviously. But however, when I was in Sweden, in Stockholm, I met these two Italian chicks, and then I basically knew the blonde one she wants to fuck for sure, and the other one, which looked a bit nicer, with her, she was a bit shy, a bit distant.
More introverted.
Yeah, she was more introverted. And then eventually you know, I was about to take the blonde girl home, and then the other one basically asked, "Oh, can I come as well?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, you can come," right? And that's basically how I had my first threesome. And the funniest part is basically why I'm telling the story is because he had a threesome with those two girls earlier. You know, it was not a real threesome, I say, because the girls didn't have sex with each other, right? Guess was
That's a threesome. You can have
yeah,
a triangle. You
yeah,
can have a
yeah,
van. It's not a threesome.
like the scissors. But it was nice.
No,
but
no, like, I mean, a phase like when the girls don't do shit with them, like they just have the link, they connect to you, and like the triangle is when everybody's doing shit with everybody.
yeah, true, right.
Yeah, that was like a really crazy story, because that was when like next year, like the same year after me and him had like all the drama happened, and what was it? The brunette, the one that Mark mentions is like more introverted. Like I knew her from Gothenburg. We had fucked before in Gothenburg. She was on like Erasmus or something, and I was like still a student when we had sex. And then when I moved in Stockholm, she was like also in Stockholm, and she was there with like her new best friend, like another Italian. And like she knew me. I went out to the club. Like I just like met them there like randomly, and I was like dancing with them, and I wasn't like really thinking of a threesome. I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll just like bring one of my friends, one of my wingmen with me, like we go for a foursome. And I brought them like I brought them in one by one, and the girls didn't like any of my friends, and they were like, you know, just like fuck it, like forget about your friends. This is like get out of here, the three of us. And I was like, din din din, like fucking light bulb moment. And we went to their place, like what was it, like some student apartment, and had that was their first threesome that they did in general and together, and that was a pretty nice night. And then and then like some months later, I was just like randomly talking with one of the two girls, and she was like asking me like, oh, what that you do now? And I was like, oh, it's like dating coaching. And she's like, oh, it's like very crazy that you say this. I met like another dating coach guy, like like another dating coach guy. And I was like, what, did you do something with him? Or I don't remember exactly the conversation. I have it like on my phone. And then she was like, yeah, me and fuck, I was almost gonna say the name. Me and we had like a threesome with him too. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I probably know this guy. What is his name? And he's like, she writes the name, and I'm like, oh, this motherfucker. And then I sent him a selfie. Like I was just like messing around with him. I was like, oh, you know, we have like something in common. We have like we have two girls in common, and I sent him like a selfie like with the girls like after the threesome, like we were all naked and stuff. And I was like, damn, like how fucking crazy is like how small is the world? He's German, like met randomly these two Italians in Stockholm, like which I kind of like have a connection with one of them, and like we both had like the threesome with the exact same women out of like whole, like okay, forget the whole planet, but like out of whole Europe. Yeah. It's like, it's just fucking insane. It's like still blows my mind.
Yeah, I thought that was a very funny coincidence that we had. I'm not even sure if there's a word for this, but it was funny though.
And you know, like over the years, like this it's I don't know what, like how it happens. Like you call them synchronicities or something like this. Yeah. I've randomly met like girls in Europe in different like random cities. Yeah. And then I will just like check their followers or their common friends on Facebook or whatever, and there's like some guy I know from the community. Yeah. Some guy I know from the community, and it's like, have we both like done something with the same girl? And you don't like exactly know. Yeah. It kind of proves the point. Like the same guys fuck like most of the.
Yeah, there's obviously there's very small amount of guys has sex with many girls. Yeah, but I have more such random coincidences. Like I once fucked a girl in Bangkok, and then I met her again in Hong Kong, and I matched a girl in Hong Kong on Tinder, and then I saw her in real life, and then we realized, oh, we had a match in Hong Kong, like, and we met on the Philippines. Yeah. And this is like many crazy coincidences. Yeah, but anyway, I thought you maybe want to share this story, maybe not. I guess there was I think there was like one labor report of you that was already quite popular. Was it the I think it must have been still in Gothenburg with the like 4 girls or
Yeah.
something like that. If you wanna share the story a little bit, or
Like I can definitely share the story, although I've like talked about it like a million times. But the thing I liked was the topic we actually had before, because okay, the stories are fun and whatever, and they can be like inspiring. They can show you possibilities, things that you know you maybe didn't think you can do, but you can. But I find this like very valuable, and I do want to emphasize the thing that you said, that what is stable, that you will build a relationship with a girl on, it doesn't come from something external. I do want to emphasize on that. This is the thing that is the most important, is who you are as a person, like what you believe in, and how you see yourself in the world and what you put out there in the world. And one of the things I know, because I also talked with the more aware women that I met through the years, and I asked them, like, what is genuinely, like, what you liked about me, or, the thing that attracted you, or the thing that has kept you close to me, like, through all this time, because I had some, like, also very long sort of relationships. And it was like the girls always told me that it's because of, like, who I am, like, my personality. Me being like very direct, very honest, like never hiding shit, just like saying things the way they are, and just like the way I do stuff, that I'm always like thinking about the best outcome for everybody, that I'm always like trying to have, trying to create the fun. I'm always trying to like push the limits, but like not in a forceful way, but just like seeing what new possibilities there are. And like I created space for these women, and my friends and the wingmen and everybody around me. Like I was always the one sort of like opening the way through the jungle with a machete, and just like having people explore a new path, new experiences. For a lot of those girls, I was like the first of some kind of experience, like maybe first foursome with a girl, first just some first kind of experience. And that's also like what I always loved, just like being able to show people a possibility that they didn't know existed in their life, but they would have liked to do that, and just like bring them into that reality.
This is something that I especially saw with the threesomes, because I think many guys feel or believe they they have, after the threesome with the girl, they have to say, oh, thank you so much for the threesome, right? when in reality, I guess it's the same for you, but at least that was how it was for me. Like many of the girls that I had threesomes with, guess what? They really wanted to have a threesome. And I usually say it in German, it's eine Marktlücke, which means there is a lot of demand of girls who would like to experience a threesome, who didn't had one yet, So, and then if you as a guy can be basically the connecting piece that is connecting two females to kind of fuck each other, because girls are more shy and they're a bit more reserved. I think many girls just view a threesome, especially maybe from the wrong angle. They imagine they have to be very nice, or they have to make the girl a present afterwards. When in reality the actual threesome is a present for many girls, right? So yeah, thought this was a fun way about thinking about threesomes.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these experiences are considered like taboo. And I think most people have them. Like, I don't know what percentage, like 60-70%, I would say, like, of women would probably have like a 60s. Well, I mean, what would you say?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think
not that they would do it, but it's like something, it's crossed your mind. It's like, oh, what if? What?
You always have to remember that we have a very biased view of
I do remember
because
that.
We have lots of sex, and we met obviously many women that are at least to some degree a little bit open about sex. So I'm not maybe. Well, I guess at least many girls already thought about having a threesome at least one time in their life, because I feel like especially having first time sex with a girl is like kind of like you said, after your relationship you felt like a virgin again. Many girls feel like a virgin with girls, you know. So the first time they lick a girl or fuck her or whatever they do with a girl, you know, it just feels like you can say, see, they're very shy and they're very reserved, right? And it's something new for them, right? And we humans, we like new stuff, right? We like stuff that is exciting for us, that is new. Yeah.
I like how Mark describes the experience. I can see, no, like
He's getting a boner right now.
no, I don't mean that. I see like the passion in his eyes when he's like talking about this. Like he's like very present. Like yeah, it's like somebody who understands this.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It's been a long time since I met somebody that gets exactly this thing. Yeah. I don't know, like what you believe, but probably a lot more women than you think would be down to, under the right conditions with the right person and you know the right vibe, actually like do a threesome. I mean, you can be the guy that provides that. You can be the guy that takes the lead, provides that safe space, no judgments. That can be the guy that is empathetic and understands kind of like what each of the girls' needs are. Yeah, maybe one is more introverted, whatever. You can give her like a little bit more time, a little bit more space, whatever. These are small details, but you can be just knowing that you have this possibility. You can be the guy that starts playing around with the possibilities and taking the lead and like start taking it away. Like maybe you can start like you can approach the girls. You can like throw it in as a topic of conversation. You don't have to like necessarily like do a threesome the first time. And like next time, like push the boundaries a little more. Next time, as you get more comfortable, push the boundaries a little bit more. Like maybe have the girls like, oh, you know, have you ever done something with a girl? Have you ever like even kissed a girl? Why don't you try? You know what I mean? And building it step by step for yourself, and with every unique situation, you can actually get to the point quite quickly. Now, talking about the story, like the Mark mentioned with the 4 girls, that was actually the first time I ever had more than one girl at the same time.
Okay, interesting.
So I never went to a threesome. It was just like one girl, like boom, like 4 4 girls at once. Yeah. So you can do stuff really fast as well if you like really believe in it. This was in Gothenburg. I was still a student. It was my first year in game. I had 3 fuck buddies. I had like maybe more, I don't remember, but it was the 3 fuck buddies. The knew kind of like what I was about. They knew I was this kind of guy going out doing this. I had already like, I didn't bullshit. I didn't like hide anything. It's not like, oh, I'm only seeing you and I'm only seeing you and I'm only seeing you. No, I see you and I see other girls and I do stuff with other girls. And you know, if you want to try stuff with other girls, like, you know, it's here. The opportunity is here. And I introduced those girls to one another. It just happened like different nights in the club, like 2 girls would be in the same club. I would introduce them, have them like just like vibe check each other. And then after I made sure that everybody was kind of like open to the idea, I arranged that one night we would all go to the same club. And in the beginning, I was there with 2 fuck buddies, and the third one took like a very long time to arrive. I was like starting to get stressed about it. But that night was insane. I was like in the club with 2-3 fuck buddies for the most like time. It was at least 2 and then the third as well. And yeah, it's very hard to describe it if you haven't seen something like this. So I was like, fuck, what do you call that? I was like an army general, and like the girls were like my minions or soldiers, and we would just like basically attack whole groups of girls. So we would like jump into a group of girls, and like one girl would make out with one of my fuck buddies would make out with another girl. Like some friend would go crazy, be like, what the fuck is happening? And then they would like pass me the girl, I make out with the girl. Then we make the 2 girls from the group make out with each other, like, and half of the group is like going into this like fucking crazy madness. It's like girls making out with girls and me. And the other half of the group is just like fucking going, like trying to process the whole thing. It's like, do one group, then like jump to the next one, then jump to the next one, then jump to the next one. And I was just like taking every group if there was possibility. If any of those other like new girls would be like crazy enough or like down to join. And eventually, a girl that I had, I had sex with her before, but she was not a fuck buddy. We just like, it was like a one-time thing. We didn't have like such a good connection with her. She was like a little bit more wild, like independent, whatever. She shows up in the club with another girl, and the other girl is a lesbian. And I'm like, oh, fucking perfect. Like, I can maybe like go home like with 5 girls. And I send my girls like basically to attack. And they have like surrounded them. And that girl is into it. The lesbian is kind of into it. And I'm like, all right, like I can take all 5 home. Turns out the lesbian doesn't like that I'm there. I'm like, bitch, like you're one and I have like 3 girls with me. Like it doesn't work like that. It's like either you join or you're in my head. I don't say this, of course, but it's like the vibe is like this. Yeah. I just like do my thing, and if like I have 3 girls making out with the new girl, and she, of course, she can't compete. Either she's like, she basically just ejected herself because she didn't like that I was there. Yeah. So lesbian is out, and then I'm there with the 3 fuck buddies and that girl that I had sex with before. The time is like very late. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. 4 girls is enough. Let's not get greedy. Quite the irony. Let's get out of here. And then we get out of the club. I was fucking broke at the time. I was like 20 years old, like student, like in a small little student room, super broke. Yeah. We're 5 people. I cannot afford to take a taxi, and we need 2 taxis because 5 people don't fit in a taxi. Yeah. I cannot afford that. So we have to like make a run for the last tram. And I just like run like a motherfucker. The girls are like running behind with the heels like fucking really hard. Like hold the door open, tell the driver, I'm like fucking wait. And I like tell the girls like behind like come, like run, like. And then eventually everybody got in the tram. I sit down, I'm like fucking drop on the seat and I'm like, I made it. And we went home to the little student room. There was like a single bed mattress. Yeah. You can't do that there, so just put everything on the floor, and I was super nervous, and I was just like drinking the whole time. There was like a bottle of alcohol. And I was like, shit, it's like I can't drink to satisfy 4 girls at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. No, it was funny. It's a very crazy story. It's even more fun that you were broke at that time. I think at least. Because most guys, as I said earlier, maybe a little bit, they think they have to provide something, they think, I don't know what they think in their head. They maybe think it has to be special, it has to be super nice flat, and so on and so forth.
No, you don't need that shit.
Yeah.
I was like fucking broke student. Yeah. Fuck the girls on the floor, and the bed covers, like just put on the floor. Yeah. I didn't have a haircut, like my hair was like very long and messy, like my clothes were like the cheapest clothes from H&M or some shit. It's like most of that stuff that you think you need is like 99% is like just like not necessary. Yeah. And all you need is like your energy and your presence and your intention and just the what is the word I'm looking for? The willpower to go into that direction that you're envisioning, and like not get stuck into like what other people think, not get stuck into like people judging you. It's like as long as you know, okay, my intention is good deep down inside, and I want everybody to have fun, and I want everybody to have a good experience, and it's just purely good intention. You can stick to that, and eventually you're gonna get what you want. And I really, really believe that, and life has showed that to me like multiple times.
Well, it's so true what he says, and it's really funny for me because I think many guys think, I guess, always, when I'm 30, when I'm 35, girls have it easy when they're young, but I, as a guy, I have it easy when I'm 30 or 35. In my head, I'm like, no, the best time to fuck is really if you're a student, because also girls I don't think girls have like high expectations, if you're 20. Because what can you do? You're 20, you're quite young, you don't really know a lot, right? So I really believe like the best time to just fuck a lot is when you're quite young. Yeah.
I'm 29 and half of my joints already
Yeah, there's one guy who had too much sex in his life, That's why the joints hurt. So Yeah, he's still meeting a girl very soon, so maybe we don't have too much time left. Okay.
I'm enjoying this.
No, it's very nice, and it's a very funny story. You know, I'm so glad. I also wrote many field reports, and sometimes I read through my own field reports, and I'm a little bit glad that I wrote them down, because quite often I just forget the shit. I have many, but sometimes I don't remember them, and I remember them more.
There's gonna be like one that is like, you know, like I had the 574 girls.
Yeah.
This is like probably the peak, right?
Yeah.
What's your like fucking?
Well, I once had sex with 4 new girls in Hong Kong in like 12 hours, maybe 10 hours. I forgot, but that was also quite demanding. And I still remember there was this funny story. I think I fucked the first girl on at 2 a.m. in the morning, then the second one at 4 a.m. And those were really nice girls, to be honest. I mean, Hong Kong is a bit more easy than, you know, some
Like,
other.
were they Asian, European, American?
One was Brazilian. I guess the other 3 were Chinese or from Hong Kong. And especially the second girl, she was awesome, like super pretty. And and then I think the third girl, she was actually a lesbian. Like I can't remember exactly, but like me and my friend, we fucked her, but because there was like one girl and another guy with the girl, so they actually came with us to the flat, the guy and the other girl. And then I think me and my friend can remember. It's like a long time ago, but I think me and my friend.
You separated them?
Yeah. And then
In the flat?
Yeah. Or I can't remember. Maybe they even watched us. It's too long time.
But then, when the guy and the girl, they were like having something.
No, they did. It's
You're just friends.
I think they just watched us fucking the girl, basically, like having a threesome with the girl. And then the last girl, she was actually from Tinder. And she was like some Brazilian chick, and I wrote her. It was like 10 a.m., 9 a.m. in the morning, right? I'm like still awake. I'm like, oh shit, she texted me. I forgot to, because I was about to warm her up and to maybe meet her that night. And then texted her, hey, where are you? Do you still would like to meet? Are you spontaneous? And then she actually replied, but she said, yeah, she's kind of awake, half asleep. But and I asked her, hey, can we cuddle? And she's like, yeah, why not? And then I just basically, she gave me her address, and my battery went empty.
You were sleepless the whole night?
Yeah. I didn't sleep for the whole night, and I can't even remember if I showered, but you know, whatever. But that's like another story. But then I had to convince the concierge, you know, to let me upstairs, because you know there was like a guy at the basement of the apartment to let me up to the girl, because I still remembered her number. So then I went up with the guy, and then the girl opened the door, and you could see that she was like half asleep, like in underwear. I don't know what the guy thought, but I thought it was pretty funny. And then she opens the guy like half asleep. I just walk in and we have sex, and I went home, and but that was like tough work.
We have a lot of similar stories.
Yeah, there was some hardcore pimping.
That was very hard.
Yeah.
I instantly got like 3 stories in line like that you have like similar parts. Yeah, I've also like done multiple girls in one day. I remember one time where me and my whole crew basically pulled these 2 from the club. It was a guy and the girl, and they had met in the hostel, and they were together the whole night, and he was like really into her, and then we split them in the apartment. It's like the living room is like here, and the guy is like here talking with Niels from my crew, and I'm in the bedroom. It's like literally like one door like separating the living room from the bedroom, and I'm like fucking the girl, and oh man. Or the concert story, I kind of mentioned it earlier. Yeah. Like, it was in Sweden, this hotel boat, and I went with the girls to the hotel boat, and I told them, just tell me the room number. I will come 1 minute after you, so the receptionist won't see us together, and he won't suspect that I'm not like from the hotel. Mm-hmm. And what happened is, they give me the room number. I go to the room number. I don't remember if I knocked or if I was like listening. It's like they were not there. And I was like, did they do that on purpose? Like, give me the wrong number on purpose? And I was like, nah, they didn't seem like this kind of girls. Yeah. It was 2 Russians, by the way. And I wanted to have sex with one of them. And I was like, nah, it's like there must have been like some misunderstanding. But they're Russians. They don't have like European SIM cards. I can't reach them on Facebook, whatever. I have their Facebook. I have the name on Facebook, right? But I can't read them. I text, whatever. They don't see it. They don't have like 4G or whatever. And then I don't know what's going on, and I'm like just about to leave. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, had a good time. 5 o'clock. Did it like as much as I could. 5 in the morning. It's like I took them all the way from the club. I was like, maybe today is not my day. You know, it's all good. I'll just go home. And as I'm like about to walk out of the door, I get like this one last idea. I was like, this is so fucking nuts, but fuck it. You know, what do I have to lose? I have the girl's name from Facebook. So I go to the receptionist, who was like, it was not a smart guy. He was like a little bit like, you know, which was very lucky for me. And I start talking to him with a fake, heavy Russian accent, and I'm like, "Excuse me, like, can you help me find my friends? I lost them. I don't have the room number." Yeah. And it's like, "Yeah, like, what is the name?" And I had the name like from Facebook. I'm like, "It's blah blah blah." Her name. It's like, "Oh yeah, right. It's room number like this." But it's like you should never do as a receptionist. Like, you never fucking give the room number to somebody without an ID, without whatever. He gives me the right room number. I go to the room number, knock on the door. They open. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, you didn't give me the right room number. And they're like, oh shit! Like, they changed the room, and we forgot. Like, we remember the old room number. Yeah. And I got in. Like, one girl was like sleeping on the top bunk bed, and I was like having sex with the other one underneath. Yeah. I had to fool the receptionist though.
No, but it's interesting. I mean, why would the receptionist think that you have like bad intentions? And it's also interesting because I think many guys in such a situation, they would expect, oh, she gave me the wrong room number on purpose, right? Like, she lied to me.
It did cross my mind.
Yeah,
but I was like, I remember the girl's vibe, and I was like, it doesn't feel right. It's like they're not the kind of girls that would do that. It's like, it's just not this mischievousness, what do you call it in English? It's like, I don't feel it. With other girls, I would be like, yeah, I could expect that. Like, I could see her doing that on purpose.
I think it's a little bit like the same, like when you take a number of a girl in the nightclub, right? Sometimes, sometimes you maybe get like a wrong number, but it's not always because she purposely gave you the wrong number, you know? Sometimes maybe she just changed, I don't know, like 2 numbers, something like that, you know?
That's why I always, like, when I get a number, first of all, I don't take numbers. I usually just tell them, like, take my WhatsApp, put my number in, go on WhatsApp, text myself from their phone with their name, or I'm like in front of like text me your name. I'm on WhatsApp. Here's my thing. Text me your name. If sometimes the girls insisted or whatever in the past, and I got like the number, I would just like make her double check it and see if she's actually like reading the thing. And if she's like, oh yeah, that's it, whatever, I'm like, no, she's kind of maybe bullshitting. But if it's like actually like checking it, and you can see like, oh, the eyes are actually like going through the numbers, you know it's not bullshit. And it just happened that sometimes girls are like, oh wait, no. It's like, I gotta change something. It's true. I like to double check stuff.
Especially maybe if she's a bit drunk, you know. But you can, on WhatsApp, you can also make the QR code, right? But this one you usually should have the right one. Good. Maybe a little bit a different question. You know, your voice is quite good. Have you ever done any exercises for your voice, or was it always like that, or?
Just a lot of smoking. No, I'm kidding. I quit smoking like many years ago, actually. Like, I know you saw me like a few days. It was just like a 2-week period. I was just like taking cigarettes from people. I was like, nah. No, voice. That's very interesting. You mentioned the voice. A lot of your sub-communications get affected by your emotional state. And I'm opening like a little bit of a big topic. So if you have like a lot of stuff in your head, and I'm talking about like from the smallest stuff, like something that bothers you about today, some shit that happened yesterday, or if it's like some really like old 10-year-old, 20-year-old, 30-year-old trauma, this will all affect your body posture, your ability to hold eye contact, your ability to just be present in interaction, your ability to how open and full your voice is. And if like you met me 3-4 months ago, when I was like in a bit of a low, I was like after had like a recent breakup, like had to go back to Greece, winter. It's like a lot of stuff that I didn't like. Like, it's just like kind of like lots of 3, 4, 5 different things that I don't really like this happened all at once. If you met me like then and you talked to me then, my voice would be like more constricted. Yeah. It wouldn't be so loud. It would maybe like be a little more high pitched because of the stress. When you're not stressed and your body is relaxed, your voice cords are relaxed, everything is relaxed. Everything you say comes with more presence, with more power, with more impact. It just draws attention. So it's your internal, again, it's like we come to the same thing. Your internal state of being affects how you interact with the world, and that in return affects how the world reacts to you.
Yeah, that's so true. Now I realize that with myself as well. Like usually my voice is getting a little bit better actually the more I go out. But if I just feel really relaxed, I can change my voice a little bit and just talk in a more, you may want to say like manly voice. So I think a small detail is also, I know that usually the taller you are, the deeper is your voice, obviously, like just in terms of genetics, because in German you would say Stimmbänder, like the thing in your makes the voice there tend to be longer the taller you are. Mm-hmm. So usually, but this is average, usually your natural voice is going to be just a little bit deeper if you're slightly taller, whatever. But that's interesting. I agree with that. Do you want to give any relationship advice? Do you want to give any specific threesome advice? Do you want to give any advices in general? As I said, I think most of the people that watch me are quite good guys. Most of the clients that I have been quite successful. They tend to be a good product. Just their marketing, as you would say, is not really on point. Or maybe if you want to talk about that too, I think I could imagine. I've not seen you gaming too much, obviously, because we haven't spent too much time. But I think I could imagine fun is playing obviously like a big role, right, in your interactions. Not so much. Okay.
I can tell you. Depends on my mood.
Depends. Yeah, same for me actually. But just you can decide what you want to talk about.
Like mentioning the fun thing, it really depends on the mood. Like let's say it's summer, just like stress-free, no bullshit, just like completely relaxed with good company. And I have like the good company is like crucial. If I got like good friends, good women, and we just want to it's not about the pool and the sex. Yeah. It's about having fun, like as a group activity with your friends, and just make like a nice little story, nice little adventure. Yeah, I can take it slow, have fun, fuck around, troll a little bit, like do a lot of humor, just like enjoy my time. Yeah. Some other times it's just like got like other shit in my head, can't be arsed. Yeah. I just want to have sex, just gotta get it out of my system. I'll just go to a club or like a busy dating spot. Club is easier for this if you want quick sex, and just pick a spot, sit the fuck down, empty my mind, scan everybody, like literally everybody. It's like, the Terminator movie, and he's like red, and like green, is like then, like here's your target. It's like this, but you need your time. You gotta be very relaxed, you gotta be very present. The intention has to be like very clear. This is the key to getting like quick sex, like if you guys haven't gotten it. Which is nothing wrong with that. Like if your intention is clear and the girl is like also has the same intention, that's the thing that has to match. You have to be like clear on your intention. If you want like something else, if you need the intimacy at this period in your life, if you want the relationship, if you want like full package, and your intention is that, you have to be clear about what you're looking. Because then if you get like stuff mixed up, you're not gonna get anywhere. I'm talking clearly about the scenario where you just want sex, you're not thinking about anything else, not necessarily intimacy, not necessarily connection, not necessarily relationship. It's fine. It's normal. This is the thing that you can apply in every environment with everything. You can be like at a business conference and you have a very clear intention to meet some, guy to work with, or, some client or whatever. You can do the same thing, but you have to be very, very clear on your intention. Like I'll sit down and the intention is just to have sex, and I'll just look at everybody, and I will take in everybody. I will just like look at their facial expression, their vibe, how they talk to people, how they move around, how they look around, how they walk, how they dance, how they behave, what their focus is. When they're focusing on something, I'll just take in their whole energy in the moment, feel it. It's like it leaves, when you do that for a long time, it's almost like it leaves like a taste. I can't really describe it. It leaves like a feeling in the body, like a taste or a texture or a color. I can look at some girl and be like, oh, that's very gray. That's very like blunt. There's like nothing there. I'll just do this for everyone, whole club. And then when I feel that I with certainty see that girl that really matches that exact intention, or it's a girl that is here to have fun, she's down, she wants to have sex, she doesn't care about other stuff, she's not here to have fun with her friends, because there is this type of girl too, she's not here to get validation, because this is a very, very, very often type of woman that you find. She goes to the club, gets validation, but sexually is like, the door is quite closed. And I'm not after so many years in game, I'm not the guy who's gonna sit and play the game with her, to neg her, to give her some validation, take some validation back until she gets hooked on me, and then take her home and then fuck her like after I get 10 different types of resistance, as you call them in game. No. You don't need any of that. You don't need any of that. Except if you like to play the challenge game like it's a puzzle and you wanna go through all that. If you just want sex, it's very simple. So it's this. Just find the girl that looks for that, not the girl that has like, I don't know, is busy in her head and thinks her life problems, and that's like another type of girl you can find in the club. What other types of girl you can find in the club? Goes there to just have fun, goes there to like go get validation, goes there and she's not really present there, she's just like somewhere in her head. And then there are the girls that just go to the club to find sex. And the moment I find a girl that I feel like her sexuality is like, she's not judgmental, she's sexual, she's down, she's looking for it, I'll just like go straight up. I don't have to do shit. I'm just like myself, like just basically grab her, show the intention immediately, so that she knows I'm not there for any other reason. It's like, okay, boom, we're on the same page. There's like fucking 200 people in here. No, we are the two ones that really match on exactly what we want. And from there is basically like easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just like, maybe talk with her a few minutes, he understands, okay, he's normal, he's safe, he really gets what I want, he wants the same, we're out. Easiest way to get sex. Yeah, and there can be like different types of game. Yeah. It's completely different experience. You go out with your bros to have bro activities, you just go out because you're horny. You go out to meet the girl of your life, that's a completely like different page. It's very, very, very broad.
Yeah. No, it's interesting that you say taste. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Also, I feel like at some point, if you really have a lot of experience, it's more like you get more like the feeling, right? It's intuition. You cannot maybe describe, or if you're very trained, you maybe can. But sometimes it's like a language, right? You see and you just see stuff that other people don't see, where they don't have the experience. And I think that's in many different disciplines the same case. I know that for some women that I've met, that maybe they just have been very sexual, maybe say for example, sometimes I feel like I can even see it in this girl's face, right? I remember this one girl that I made out with in front of the club. I was very young, maybe 21 years old, but I think she was like basically the biggest nympho that I ever dated. And if you just have a picture of her face, which I sadly don't have, but I still remember her name, Susan, just to drop something. She just had a very sexual face. You know, you just looked in her face and it was, there's predator,
not always,
like big eyes, maybe not necessarily predator eyes, but I think she had like a big jaw a little bit, but like big lips and something.
There are some girls that you can see they're open to it, they're like receptive to it, and they're just kind of like lingering, like the vibe is like lingering in the environment, just kind of like waiting for the opportunity to show up. And there are some girls that they're like fucking yeah.
This is funny because I was had a coaching in Munich, I think in December, maybe last year, December. I can't remember. Too much stuff happened. But I saw a girl there, and she also had this very sexual face, right? And I was about to, yeah, this is my girl. And then,
that's my girl. Yeah,
like that's my girl. But you know, I had a coaching, so I obviously I told my client, go to her. And funny enough, I think she was 25-ish, 26, but real pretty girl. And my client was like 40 something, 45. And he fucked her on the same day. And I'm like, good job. So yeah, it's, I don't know, like with some person, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes you can just feel the sexualness in their face.
You know,
for something, yeah.
It comes, this is the thing I just said before, basically. You said like you see people stuff that people don't see. Yeah. This is the number. If I talk about game, it's not my thing now, but it is my thing in heart. So if I talk just about game and just about the ability to like connect with someone, and it could be just sex, it could be emotional, intellectual, and so on. There's levels. There's like sexual connection, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and yeah. In game we focused a lot on the sexual connection. And I told people, like always when they came to programs back in the day, I was like, your problem is that you're approaching blindly. We have like the typical pickup guy, and he just like sees a pretty girl, nice clothes, nice face, nice body. It's like, I'll just go. It's like, no, because that's not the thing that matters. That's not the thing that's going to get you results, because you're not focusing on the things that matter. And what matters is whether this girl's intention right now in the moment and state of being is matching yours. You could approach 100 fucking hot girls, like with this blind like mindset, because like, oh, hot, I go, hot, I go, hot, I go, attractive, I go, pretty, I go, whatever, cute, I go, just because of this one layer of so many things you can see. Yeah. And you're gonna get nowhere. And if you don't understand that this is happening, you're gonna get fucked in the head. You're gonna be like, all right, I'm getting rejected by everyone, something is wrong with me. It's going to affect your psychology, your emotions. It's going to affect everything. And I told people, learn to focus on the things that matter. Learn to see beyond what other people see. Because it's not that I have like, the most special skill that I have is not it's something that I do, is the ability to see. And that's the thing. Learn to observe the people, women or men, depending on the context, business, relationship, whatever, applies for everyone. Learn to see their state of being. Feel the people. You don't judge them logically, you don't think, try to guess what they're guessing, just like observe. Just take in the vibe, and after a while you will get the feeling. For me, it hits like a feeling in here in the stomach, in the gut. It's like this girl is like almost there, like 70% like match. 70% compatibility. It's like, maybe there is somebody better in the club. Maybe there is like something higher. And I usually just try to find the girl that is like I will feel it like in my gut, like boom, here we are. I'll like, that's the one I'm gonna say is that like probably like my fastest pull, or like definitely like top 3. We were in this huge bar in Budapest, very popular bar with one of my friends like 2 years ago. Simpla, yeah. And we're just scanning the whole place. I'm like, yeah, let's just take a last walk. Just like, and I just see everyone, taking everyone. It's like, it's like bland. There's like nothing there. The whole place is gray. Whole place is like tasteless. Like my girl is not here. And then as we walk towards the exit, I see an older woman, MILF, blonde, just like sitting on a stool, just like by herself, completely alone with her hands like this, and just like kind of like looking around gently, like not really being with someone, and it just clicks. I'm like, here we are. And I tell him, yo, give me like a minute. You can go out. I'll probably like come in like 2 minutes or something. Like I need to remember what the conversation was like. I go up to her. I look at her dead in the eye, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing right now? She's like, I don't know, like, why are you asking? I'm like, would you like to come with me? She's like, where do you mean? Like, I'm like, to my place. And she tells me to do what? And I look at her dead in the eye, Like, that don't break the eye contact. I'm like, to fuck the shit out of you. Or like, to fuck your brains out. It was one of those two. It's like, I love those two sentences. To fuck your brains out. And she gets it, like there's no negative reaction. And she just starts asking me like some random shit. Like, oh, where are you from? Like, what are you doing here? How old are you? Some stuff like that. And I fall into that, like 2-3 questions. But I'm still staying there, like just super solid, like haven't moved, just like the eye contact is there. And after like 2-3 questions, I'm just like reminding myself why I'm there. And I'm like, okay, look, I'm not fucking around. I'm not playing around. I'm gonna leave. Are you coming? And she says, where is your place? And I'm like, it's literally around the corner, just around the block. She gets up, I give her my arm, she takes my arm, we go straight to my place. We had amazing sex whole night. We probably like fucked like 5 times. It turned out that she was a stripper. She was Hungarian, recently moved from Canada after many years back to Hungary. And yeah, we met more times. Other times that I went to Hungary again, like I stayed at her place even like 3-4 days, whatever, had like a great time. It's like, and we still talk. And when I go to Hungary again, I'll probably see her again. And it was just like instant, just like knowing exactly that this is the woman that fits my intention. Going up there, waste 0 time. It was like, except for these 2-3 questions that's like kind of like derailed me. There was like nothing else that that was unnecessary in like what I was like focusing on. And we had a very, very honest, very genuine connection, and we talk about like deep stuff. Like sometimes she will call me, like tell me like about her life, or I will tell her about like another breakup that I had, and we're gonna have like a nice moment of like understanding, you know. It's a very genuine connection I have with her, and it can start just like from sex, but because you're genuine and honest, then you can actually have very, very genuine and deep connections with people.
Okay, is there, I guess we talked about a lot till yet. I actually, because you said you told the story with the MILF, obviously, we just had a short break. And I still remember, I also, the fastest pull that I had, I think it was maybe a minute, maybe less. But I met her in the toilet. It was like some unisex toilet, right? So it was it was very good. Well, it was very smart. And then I basically just picked her up and I went with her into the toilet and she liked it. And then she just pushed me a little bit and we had like very strong eye contact, and that was like the final shit test that I had. And then we just had sex. And it's basically, it's like a little bit.
What did you do? Like, what was the reaction? Was like you took her? Okay, like explain.
I basically walked up to her and I said, "Hey, hi, nice to finally see you again," you know. And she was like, "Hey," and then I like picked her up, and I don't think I made out with her there, but then I just picked her up, and it's a little bit cocky, right? But I was very calibrated not to, do too much, and I picked her up and I went with her in the toilet, and I didn't lock the door, and then and she was a bit, I guess she probably thought that it was a little bit naughty from what I do.
Had you seen her before in the club?
No.
This is the first time.
Yeah,
like, oh, happy to see you.
Yeah. That's why I remember, because it was just a fun story. And then I called it in the field report. I called it, she gave me the eye of Sauron, right? And I needed to look in her eye and just not flinch.
So you get in, you close the door, you don't lock the door, right?
I didn't lock the door because
And then that would be like
that would be weird. Yeah.
Very tight, And then she like gave you like a little push.
Yeah.
And look at you like how?
Yeah. She just looked at
like what's happening. Like is everything like
not this one? Like she knew what was happening, and I obviously we had sex, so she must have liked it. But she wanted to see if I flinch, if I avoid eye contact, if I'm not congruent, right? If I'm maybe shy or something like that. And I just looked her straight in the eye, and then she came to me, we went out and we had sex. So, that was actually not the fastest one, I think, but also pretty fast. So
what can be fast is not faster.
But it's basically the same, like a little bit the same, like the story you had with the MILF, right? Because it was also like testing and like strong eye contact and, bunch of questions. And then you needed to remember yourself, what are you here for? So, yeah. I like it. Do you want to share?
That is more impressive.
Yeah, whatever. Thanks. Do you want to share anything else, or do you want to give any else advice?
Oof. Oh man, we covered a lot. I don't know. My mind is. I don't know what we're focusing on. We're focusing on getting quick sex. We're focusing on crazy stories. We're focusing on life.
Can also be in a game. Can be relationship. Can be.
I was thinking about the relationship stuff, because that's like the next level, right? We're getting older. Like at some point, I guess. I don't know about you, but I do eventually want to have a
family.
I don't know if it happens. I mean, I failed quite a few relationships the last few years, and I mean I did eventually understand why. But my idea, like from always, like since I was a child, was like that eventually I would have a family. I mean, as I grow up, I realized maybe I won't find the perfect woman for it. Like, will I find that perfect woman? Will I have the perfect family? Will I settle for something less in order to have the family? It's like it's a lot of. I wouldn't like to do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like this to be the case. I am a believer in the ideal, and I am a believer that if you also like believe enough in it and you want it enough, that you will get it. So my ideal scenario is to find the perfect partner, and that we have that family in the way that we want, like the values that we want, that we are very aligned in all areas of life. Will it happen? I don't know. And I might not be the best person to give relationship advice because I failed quite a few of them. But I'll try.
But that's very humble, right? Because I think the relationship usually starts with getting to know each other, obviously. And I think, obviously, if you cannot get to know her, then the relationship is not gonna come. So you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, you're not a relationship expert, and I would neither call myself a relationship expert. But the relationship starts with getting to know each other, right? Like, if you don't have the option of getting to know a woman, then, well, you're not going to have a relationship for sure.
Yeah, that is true. It's because I talked earlier about like seeing people and reading people, and you can do it like in a very, very deep extent. You can sometimes look at somebody and in a few seconds like have an idea of like his entire like life story. But there is like always like things that you might not be able to see, and that's where getting to know each other comes in. And I don't know, maybe I'm not like the best at that, to be honest. If I was to give relationship advice, I would say that the most important thing is probably to know yourself the best. Because if you're aiming for the perfect relationship, like I do, the way that I have it in mind is that I match with somebody that we first of all feel safe with each other, that then there is a sexual connection, because that's kind of like how it builds. It's like a pyramid. So you have like the safety, you have to like make sure you can trust somebody, like the trust. Then it's like the sexual connection, like the physical attraction. Then it's the emotional, the intellectual, and finally the spiritual. And that's like quite a lot of layers to hit with somebody. And I feel like I've had glimpses of different parts with different women, but not yet somebody that hits like everything. And as I said, you have to know yourself first, because if you haven't like developed a sense of security in yourself, okay, I can trust myself in my decisions, then you can't see that in a relationship anyway. You could end up like becoming dependent on somebody to have like a sense of security, because a lot of people do that. And it's like you have like these codependent relationships, and they always like will go sour at some point, and somebody will suffer and somebody will will stay underdeveloped as a person in these relationships. You gotta like be able to trust yourself. You gotta be able to feel secure in yourself. Then you gotta be able to feel secure and confident in your sexuality. So when you have that physical attraction, which is like one of the very animalistic, like primal levels of connection with the other sex, then you can do that. You can be there present in that sexuality, and you can like go the full length. And then you have the emotional connection, and in order to have an emotional connection with somebody, you gotta be also like comfortable with all types of different emotions that you have. Then you have like, I'm talking about like mostly like the heart. You gotta have an open heart in order to like actually be able to like love someone, to receive love, to give love, and all these deeper emotions, these like more expanded emotions. And then you have like the intellectual connection, which can be something important. I don't often like have intellectual connection with women, but it does happen occasionally. I'm not saying it like as a negative thing for women. It's just like,
I understand.
because I've met women where I had like incredible intellectual connection, but then maybe like not the emotional part was not there. And then you have like the spiritual connection, which is like completely like different. We're talking about like another completely like a next level of human experience. And in order to achieve this means that you have to be very spiritually developed yourself. You gotta have like a very, very good connection with, I mean, you can call it whatever, God, universe. And your partner has to be able to have that level of connection with that realm as well. And finally, my ideal for a partner would be that it's somebody that our purpose in life, our mission in life aligns, which is, I don't know, idealistic. Somebody would say, oh, like find a man and be partners and do a business together. And, you know, with my best friend, we're very, very aligned, like in this purpose. Like we both work with very similar core concepts with different approaches, but the core is the same. Oh, like somebody would say, oh, like find a man, like your best friend, work together, like do your business together. Yeah. Maybe, like, but I also like the possibility of meeting a woman who's like in the same realm, same industry, same kind of concept, same mission, like something around like coaching, helping people. I don't know. Like, will I hit the whole list? But yeah. If you're aiming for a relationship, you gotta like know yourself, and you gotta build yourself in every one of these levels, like security, trust in yourself, sexuality, the emotions, the intellectual and the spiritual level.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's true. And about what you said, the intellectual connection, I think on average, just men and women have a little bit different interests, right? And I think as a man, it's most of the time more easy to find another man who has more of the same interests like you than like with a woman, obviously. You know, because as people say, I think Jordan Peterson said that, something like men are more interested in things and women are more interested in people. And, you know, that's a big problem, especially when it comes to dating. But that's sometimes what I think a little bit about when it comes to the intellectual mind, if you want to say so.
Yeah, a little closer. I have met women that we were very close intellectually, like we do, because I mean, you're in the dating industry, like right now, I was in the dating industry, now I'm in another industry. It's like more self-help, like inner work and so on. And I've met a lot of women in this realm. Not a crazy amount, but I have met some, and I could see an intellectual connection there. I could see like that we were connecting on like understanding, like speaking the same language. Yeah. In terms of like concepts and understanding each other, but other stuff was like lacking. So I had the connect. It's actually a girl that lives in Krakow.
Oh, okay, interesting.
I haven't seen her in years, and we had an excellent emotional connection, excellent. Or a very, very good intellectual connection, very honest relationship with each other. She was in the same industry, we could like almost speak the same language, but she was not, for example, what I wanted on the physical level. Yeah. She was not like precisely like my ideal partner in appearance. And like you could say, oh, that's superficial, whatever. But as I said, I feel like all the layers of this pyramid, they have to be there. So like the physical appearance for the sexual connection for me is important. Yeah. So it's not like that they don't exist, like you also can have an intellectual or even spiritual connection with. It's just the more criteria you have, like the more standard, like the more stuff you have in your list of standards, the harder it is to find that perfect partner. What is your perfect partner like?
The easiest way to be happy is to have low expectations, basically. No, it's true, especially for me.
That sounds like a very, very miserable life.
I don't think it's. I think it sounds a bit weird, but I think it's a bit true though.
What's your perfect partner like? Do you have one?
I don't think the perfect partner exists. But
if the perfect partner existed, what would it be like?
But probably like me, but just like a female, I guess, maybe to some degree. Hopefully she had sex with less women than I did, or less men than I had with women. But anyways, but yeah, I definitely feel. I think one small disadvantage, if you want to say so, that you might have, but I rather live with that. If you get to know really many women and have sex with a lot of women, is just because you had so many different, so pretty women and yada yada, and you had such good sex, like your standards just get higher and higher, right? And it's sometimes hard to find as many people in the future as pretty like women that you have met in the past. But I mean, that's like a luxury problem to have. So I can live with that. But yeah, anyways. But how can people reach you? If they want to reach you, I guess I can blend in your Instagram somewhere, and you're obviously focused more on inner game, you know, and you transitioned a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm not doing dating now, like since the last like 2 years at least. What I do is pure inner work. So as I mentioned before, on myself and with the clients, I just find layers of conditioning or trauma that hold them back from actualizing their desires, and then we just work on removing that. So it's just inner work, but for any issue that you might have. So it could be like about dating, it could be about relationship in general, it could be about family relationship, it could be general social stuff, it could be lack of purpose, like not knowing what you want to do with life, it could be just all kinds of stuff. You wake up and you don't have energy, and there can be a psychological root to that. That could be one of the things. It works about any issue in life that has psychological, emotional, conditioning related or trauma related roots. One thing I was considering today, because I was feeling inspired by being in Poland, and because I did miss it, as I told you earlier, I realized that one of the things I really enjoy is a combination of being able to be out of the house, be able to meet women, have this kind of fun, and also help people. So even though generally my work is not dating related, I would consider this summer to do like maybe 1 or 2 very limited immersions for like, I don't know, 2 people maybe, something like this. And I would love to do that. It's something I did miss from those years. If somebody's interested in either, just like the general inner work, or maybe one of those immersions specifically for now, they can just contact me on Instagram, just DM me, like it's gonna be, I guess, in the description, and tell me, yeah, you watched the interview with Mark and what you're interested in, and we can take it from there.
Awesome, good. Yeah, and as I said, I can only recommend Krakow. I mean, if you do it here, Krakow is an awesome city for game. It's one of the reasons why I'm here, actually. So I guess that's it. Thank you a lot for the interview. I guess it's going to be a very long interview, and hope that many can take lots of value from this one.
I also want to thank you, because this is something I did really miss doing. I did miss having a voice and reaching people, and it did reconnect me with a part of me that I had forgotten about, but I actually like still really love. So thank you, and thanks to your audience as well.
Thanks.
And I do want to hug. Come here.
So, ich hoffe, das Video mit Chris hat dir gefallen. Ich fand es sehr interessant, was er so zu erzählen hatte. Wenn du an einem Coaching von ihm interessiert bist, wie gesagt, sein Schwerpunkt ist mehr auf Inner Game, aber was Dreier angeht, hat er offensichtlich auch sehr viel Erfahrung. Dann werde ich hier sein Instagram nochmal einblenden. Und wenn du ein Coaching bei mir machen möchtest, dann bewirb dich gerne auf meiner Website. Ich arbeite nicht mit jedem zusammen. Mir ist es wichtig, dass du gewisse Kriterien erfüllst. Aber ich kann wirklich guten Gewissen sagen, dass die Männer, die zu mir kommen, in aller Regel sehr gute Männer sind, mit denen ich gerne arbeite. Und ich kann mich nur wiederholen. Also die Nachrichten, die ich regelmäßig von meinen Klienten nach dem Coaching bekomme, sind Nachrichten, die mir extrem gut gefallen. Neulich hat mir ein Klient geschrieben, dass er demnächst Papa wird. Das hat mir auch sehr, sehr gut gefallen. Ja, wie gesagt, wenn du an einem Coaching